On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, Caldea Boys Collection coming to you soon. So we'll be talking all about that, both here, there, and everywhere, plus more advanced quests and other things. And of course, this episode is getting recorded on the day that Monster Hunter Wilds comes out, so prepare for some of that. It's only natural. Hi, I'm one of your hosts. I am Longsword Omega. With me as always, Greatsword Lucky.
It is very true. And I hope everyone is enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka Boys Will Be Boys. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events with the JP and EM version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers, remember to look out for you, Olga, on Mount Rushmore.
And much more. But yes, first, before any of the other show business, we didn't release a show last week. You probably noticed, but in case you didn't, there wasn't one you missed. We didn't record last week because the news was lean.
Very lean.
I think we had confirmation on the date they intended to launch CBC because they said when the stream would be coming, or they started the social media campaign. But obviously, the pre-release campaign is pretty new and didn't have any more vague news out of JP either. So it was just well, there's a couple things we could talk about, but the new event's not happening for over a week anyway. So we'll push it. We'll play more Vintage Story.
God, we play a lot of Vintage Story.
Yeah. That may come back several times during the episode. But I already, was pre-writing my, pro tip notes about, the pregame will be next week anyway, and I'm like, well, unless there's something else we really want to talk about, we can probably just, push a week, come back, have a better show, bigger, longer show the next time, which is this time. Hi, you're in the better show.
Hello.
How you doing? Everything good? Great. I want to remind everybody real quick that the show is, brought to you not only by all of our wonderful listeners, viewers, etc., but also especially our patrons and YouTube members. You may hear us shout out to our highest level patrons who are listening live as we go on. We will have a more tailored shout out for them later, but that means that progressing down the normal structure of the show, we're going to check out those favorite Kohai. Mesh.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it's time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, right? So for pro tips, occasionally we feel like adding the air horn sound. Lucky I haven't actually made an air horn sound in, years. Because it would be really annoying if I did that every week. You guys would
I think so, yeah.
So we don't. But I have a very simple one for you, but they have pre-announced what March's items will be, so keep your eyes peeled for your login items being Fantasy Scales, Octuplet Crystals, Seeds, Fangs, and Spinal Fluids. So out of those, probably Fantasy Scales for me, but you never know.
I usually go with whatever's lowest, so.
Yeah, that's usually how I do it. Sometimes I'll be like, obviously, this is the mat I'm picking, and then I go to exchange my first ticket, and I'm like, I have, 50 less of this mat that I thought I had a lot more of. Maybe we'll go with that one.
Yeah.
So, it's do be like that. So, keep your eyes peeled for those. We have nothing filled in our boxes for records or evils. We're just out here vibing.
Nothing, I guess, really that crazy. I guess I could mention I did actually get my 3 million done for the points ladder. I did, clear out the event shop. Sorry. I don't know why it took me a minute to think of that, but it did. And I found this actually pretty interesting because now that the event's over, you can actually go exchange all your unused chocolates for QP. I did. I got over 35 million QP for all the chocolates I had to exchange back. Because I did not use a single surprise chocolate. I was able to use just lock-on chocolates for all my new servants.
Yeah, same.
And so,
literally, you just reminded me that I need to go do that.
Yeah, go do that. Pro tip, event shop is over. Go sell your leftover chocolates.
Yeah, go. Move your shit.
Free QP.
That's true. That should be a second pro tip. You can do that for probably a week. Usually you can actually access the store.
Yeah. But no, it was a good haul, so that is nice. But it's not anything necessarily crazy. I actually didn't do the 90++ note. I was just do I really care that much? And I was like, no.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not get as far in the shop. I actually only made it to, I can literally say because I'm here, about 1.5 million points. Oh. I got all the command codes and tickets. I did not need the points ladder copy of the CE. I actually double-checked later. I got 3 drops, so that wasn't a problem. So it didn't really hurt my completion. I missed out on a couple of eggs and a couple of the lures at the end. I tried doing the 90+ node, not the plus, but the plus. I probably shouldn't have bothered because I could do it, but I needed to use K-scopes to do it. because I don't have any single target riders who can make themselves instantly NP otherwise off of Fiddy. And boy, let me tell you, fucking nobody on my friends list had like a juiced up rider of any kind. Like I could never find a rider with a event bonus. There was like one guy. Shout out to you. I've forgotten because it's been like a week, but there was one guy who gave their blue Choco to like Ozymandias. That made a couple of runs easier, but otherwise it was just like it hurt my point bonus total, and I probably should have cut my losses like a week earlier and just farmed the 3-turn one because that was super painless. But you know, if you could make it work, the AP ratio is better.
I was able to get the 90 plus node to work. It took me a little jank. Had to pull out an order change and pull out me Vlad. But other than that, NP5 Summer Ibuki covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah, that's how I always end the last wave. But it's the couple of single target guys. I feel like I'm only level 100, so it doesn't always work.
Honestly, I rely on Vlad as my single target Arts Berserker so much. I really should give him some grails.
Yeah, that's a secret power I don't have because you're. It was a cause of strife for several years, but I believe your Vlad is NP5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely do not have any single-target Berserkers who can hit that hard. I'm out here, like, using my fucking, Mave or Quetzalcoatl.
That was the other thing I was realizing. I don't think I've really necessarily invested heavily in any of my riders. I think I have, like, a 10-10-10, like, Rider Kentucky, and I think Drake is maybe getting up there, but other than that, I'm just all like, huh. Because that was the point that I was having trouble with. I was was trying to think of who to put on my rider support, and I was just all like, who? So I actually need to give a good long hard thunk at my riders and actually put some time and effort into them.
Yeah, for farming, I have an NP2 small Da Vinci, so like that's fine. We can do that. I guess I should gas up my own Ozymandias a little. I do have Maid Altar as well, actually.
I think I got several good. I think I got several good units. It's just I don't think I've put any extra effort into any one in particular. So,
and I got to be honest, like I said, the regular level 90 node, which was just 333. Both of us talked about this, I should say, when we started the event. Summer Ibuki got the super lock on Choco, and mine's NP2, as well, which is a great feat for me. So it's like, yeah, no, that's great. That's perfect. Start every fight with a free 200%. We're cooking. Literally don't need double Castoria. Loop every time. But yeah, so I did not close out a couple of lures, but I didn't really need to. I never felt pressure to wrap up the event. So I've learned from my mistake for the next one, but we'll talk about that later. Sorry, hold on a second. People at home, I'm rubbing my eyes. They've been bothering me again lately. I said this before the recording started, but I probably should have hit the vacuum real quick before we got started. But I forgore.
He forgore.
And now it's late, so I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow me will remember. But that means it's time for... Did you finish your master missions? Probably. They're very simple this week. So to finish your master missions this week, because, this is the week where we literally just ended one and are not quite another, you have to defeat 15 Archer Casters, Lancer Rider Berserkers, and then Saber Assassins. So all those class spreads are separate ones. Defeat 15 enemies with the Heaven attribute, acquire 15 EXP drops, and then 30 EXP drops. So do anything, really. Excuse me. Oh, the only one there that's probably troublesome is going to be Heaven, but still very doable. So yeah, that means we can move swiftly along to Skellograms.
Yeah.
And that is the news. First of all, JP News. Lancer Weekly Summon Campaign number 2. Started the 24th, goes to the 3rd. Yes, regrettably you've missed us talk about Lancer Summon Campaign number 1. That was last week. It's okay, you should be able to figure it out, because the banners for Campaign 2 are going to be Bradamante, Chinyangyu, Valk, and Ku. Double SR on that one. Somehow they've managed to make this work out so that they've got Romulus equal Kurinus, Summer Ibaraki, and regular Romulus. We've got a Vritra, Lambdarillis Protoku, Melusine Canis Hector, Lancer Ryoma Percival Deermud, Britomart The Dawn, and Taiga, aka Jaguarman, and then ending with a Bima, Summer Nikich, Hozo, and Ishun. Which, by the way, means that the last new Lancer was 5-star Lancer was Bima, who is almost 2 years at this point. We'll be seeing him later when Order Your Call comes out, having already met him this year. So interesting how we're it's still been a while for some of these. But over in EN, as kind of the thing to space at the time before the next event, we did get Advanced Quest Part 14 that is dropped. This has new CE, Homunculus Babies, a Shell CE, and the quest which will give you your 5th copy of the Dust CE.
Yay.
And I do believe that the way the rates improved is you will want to MLB, but you would not want to spend them beforehand. But you might want to just, if you're really going hardcore farming, you might just want to keep them separate. I'm not actually sure. Though, obviously, for some people, you gotta mind your archive space. But JP is also, in their own little lead-up. Valentine's did come out and their main story was concluded. There's some extra fun stuff going on. But I believe no double secret banners. So they're preparing for CBC. Which has, by the way, lots of people trying to guess and figure out, what will it be? Will it be a costume or a new servant? Because Kalea's Boys Collection has had basically no rhyme or reason.
It does what it wants.
But they are doing Evocation Festival Part 10. So to your Evocation Festival shop, they are adding Bunyan, the 1-star. So that's neat. Like that.
Yeah.
We're also adding Santa Martha, Nocturia, and Io. So kind of a broad spread there. Io's costumes, alternate costumes, are in the MP shop. There are loads of missions for more Evocation Festival leaves. They've got, permanent missions, limited time missions, login bonuses, etc. All that stuff you'd expect. We're looking at, and I should say, the Evocation Festival started the 26th, is going to end the 12th. So you got a long time period to get the missions done. Half AP for Bunyan's rank up, half AP for Embers in general during this period. Doesn't appear to have been any new rank up quests, which makes sense. The three welfares they're adding new to the shop, I should say, are all generally regarded as having fairly solid kits. Santa Martha's not crazy, but she has a niche, and Io and Nocturia are relatively new as well. And Bunyan has always been semi-meta as, one of the cheapest instant farmers there is, so and already had rank ups to kind of improve the level, so no real need for new shit. Also, not directly related, but I do believe this did launch when this dropped. There's some more Bleached Earth stuff going on, more Bleached Earth quests, and the Foreigner class score has been unlocked, so we may actually not get a Foreigner Ordeal Call, as the previous extra class class scores were unlocked by completing their Ordeal Calls, so they're unlocking this one early, which is interesting. Obviously, it doesn't preclude having another limited time event being Foreigner focused or any kind of other bamboozlement, but does probably mean that we're not doing a normal Ordeal Call chapter for Foreigner. But also kind of interesting that I don't. Sometimes, with translation and delays, stuff is not clear right away, but I don't think there's any special, event that precedes it. It's just part of their usual content cycle of doing, new Bleached Earth quests every once in a while, stuff for you to do between events that you're sort of and also throw the Foreigner class score thing in there. Who knows?
Well, I think we talked about it. We didn't think that we'd get a Foreigner one anyway, just because how Ordeal Call is explained, Foreigner really doesn't fit into that.
Yeah.
Fit into that paradigm, I guess, is the way to put it.
And was not explicitly called out as well. Again, not that this is another thing we talked about. Ruanami Arakman did not mention Moon Cancer, yet here we are.
I'm pretty sure that was the 3 bit.
Yeah, I don't know. But did what he say 4 and then switch to 3? Did BB pop her head out of the hatch and pass him a stack of 50s or something? I don't know. I'm not sure why he decided to change his mind there, but we'll see. I wonder, because the actual Ordeal Call hadn't happened by last anniversary. I wonder if for this year's anniversary interviews, somebody will ask Nasu about it and he'll say, "Oh, when we wrote that line a couple years ago, we weren't actually sure what we were going to have time and budget for, so we decided to err on the side of caution."
Yeah, but I think we do got at least enough time in the how story goes. We have enough time in the year for probably one big story drop, which will probably be Ordeal Call 4, which is most likely going to be Rulers, and then it'll be time for the finale.
We'll have to actually go back to Antarctica.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, I had some people, I've seen some people on other places on the internet saying that they think that Part 2 might end around an anniversary, and I'm like, I don't know about that, because doing the Ordeal Call doesn't mean we actually finish the story, so, we're going to have to do an Ordeal Call probably sometime before anniversary, and then we gotta, like, finish the story. And they could probably pull off, like, an anniversary, like, time period right into it, but I don't know that they would, especially because we're going to have a summer event probably sometime around when Anniversary launches, and that will be a big tentpole. It will be, our potentially last brand new summer event, a big hitter. Like, they're going to be pulling out a lot of stops here, so it'll be interesting to see. Back over to 2EN, chronologically. We have the Caldea Boys Collection 2025 pre-release campaign, started the 27th, just yesterday, going until the 6th. A login every day for silver apples and up to 3 Saint Quartz at the end. Not a huge deal, but a little infusion. The exchange ticket, if you didn't get it last year, has been added to the Rare Prism shop to get a Spectacles White Day CE. In the Mana Prism shop, you've got another copy of the Silver Buddy Ring command code. Always very popular, the 2 rings.
Mm-hmm.
All the old Glass costumes are going to be in dressmaking if you didn't unlock them already. And we're doing a rotation of banners. It's got Arjuna Altar, Amakusa, Odysseus, Moriarty, Arthur, Dantes, Waver, and all of these come with the appropriate year's Caldea Boys Collection CEs in the gacha. So just starting us off with a rousing round of rotating banners and attempts to gacha old CEs, if you're missing any. We have a social media campaign and a stream announcement confirming Caldea Boys Collection will start on the 5th of March. So next Wednesday. Speaking of which, JP has also announced a stream 3-5 where they will detail Caldea Boys Collection. And because of the way time zones work, while their event may technically start on the 6th, it will still be Wednesday for us, probably. So, funny how all that lines up.
It's like they're doing it intentionally.
Yeah. The thing that's very interesting about what they said about Caldea Boys Collection is that it will require an OC3 clear. So, you have to be caught up on story. Curiouser and curiouser, but we will see what they will be doing. That personally does kind of lend me to the idea that it'll probably be a brand new servant rather than a costume, but it could be a costume for newer characters, and that's why they want more story clearance.
I don't know.
As we say, we don't know. We'll see later. But that is all of our amalgamated collectified news. I'll be hitting you with a brief pregame for the White Day event after the mail break,
The mail
bag
break.
break the bag.
Break the bag.
Good morning.
Ooh. So, with that, let's move on to this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag, a segment where we see what you have to say and comment accordingly. This week, actually, we refreshed this. I have not refreshed this for a while. Yeah, we quadrupled. We have eight lovely comments, and we will get through them all. So we'll get started right now. Our first one comes from Ready for a Totally Not Gouda Gouda, aka CBC this year.
They're not
They
kidding.
say-
You'll see in a second, Chad.
They say, howdy, Lucky and Meg. I hope you all are doing well this week. I recently realized that this month marks my 5th year being one of the whale patrons and over 6 years watching the podcast overall. So I just wanted to thank you both for making a very fun and entertaining podcast that I've been able to enjoy over the many years. Good vibes to y'all. Wah, 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 wah. And hope you enjoy the coming CBC. Yeah, we've been at this for a while. It's a little weird to think about.
We've been on the ride with FGO since the beginning, basically, and we're still here.
Still here.
So thank you for listening and supporting for so many years.
Yeah, very much. Like, every once in a while, it just comes across my news feed that, someone else has just decided to, drop off with the FGO content. I'm just like, oh, we're just here just still putting along. And we'll keep putting along. Don't you all worry. But, we move on next. The next one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, who says, Dear Greatsword Lucky and Longsword Omega. It's like people know what we're about. No question this week, just sending good vibes. Wah, 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 wah. And wishing you well. Good luck in the hunt. As I said, I just captured a giant kicking after I smashed its head open. Times are great.
Yeah, actually, I feel fairly good about that fight because for my, literally my first ever Monster Hunter, cut off that guy's tail first time.
Nice.
So, we're working, we're doing things, we're hitting buttons. He only set me on fire once.
Yeah, I got set on fire once as well.
And presumably I'll be back into, actually no, the next quest is learning more about the monster that I would pronounce normally Doshaguma, but the English VAs anyway pronounced Doshaguma. And I'm kind of curious if they were coached to say it that way, because it is the year 2025. So maybe I'm saying it wrong, who knows?
Oh, my soda! Sorry, I was putting down my controller and I just banged over my root beer. Not the root beer! So, moving on, this next one comes from the 100-Hour Man, who says, Dear Lucky and Omega, hope you two are having a great week, and had a great break last week. You guys deserve it after doing a killer LB7 review. I don't know if I really would consider a review. I just yell my thoughts into a microphone.
Listen,
calling it a review makes me sound like I actually had some sort of coherent thought involved in there.
Maybe not review, but recap for sure. We definitely recounted things that happened, and there was a lot of it. There was a lot that got recapped.
Yeah, much recapping. But this person goes on to say, 2 questions for y'all. First off, what are you guys working for your St. Corn's Revolver for the Draco Tiamat banners? I am over 1.5k and 30 tickets, but I am debating not rolling to save up for summer and the crazy banners next year. Aiming to 120 max CL without burning my soul's fire. Second question, Omega, where are you at with the next part of the Camelot compilation? I haven't heard it mentioned in a while, so I figured I'd bring it up. Keep on being awesome.
I assume they mean Avalon the Fae instead.
Probably.
As for that, yeah, it's been a little bit, but I am planning on getting back to work at it. As you know, we are at the part that is the longest, and I was not working on it very intensely while we were also doing LV7 stuff, because those episodes were all so long. And, remember how I said the Vintage Story thing would come back? We have been playing Vintage Story, like, really hot and heavy lately. Mm-hmm. So, like, I cannot edit audio and also do Vintage Story, so just one of those things where I haven't had as much space with the boys being so ham on it.
Been very ham, yes.
But for other reasons, we will probably be less ham. And I hope to. I'm planning on getting back to work on that one.
No. When it comes to my reserves, Quetsk wiped me out. So I've been building up from there. I'm over 200 quartz again, and I didn't spend any tickets, so I'm still 50 plus tickets. I do not know the exact on the top of my head. And I also have a little bit of a slush fund I'm slowly working on to just in case. Like I said, the goal is to get MP5 Tiamat, but I just need 1 copy of Draco. And yes, then I will again immediately start the saving for the summer. They just keep coming for me wallet!
Yeah, I'm only at about 150 St. Quartz right now, but that's because I still have untapped reserves of, like, I've got a couple, tiers of interludes I can do, and did not actually, because we ping-ponged into Valentine's, not super fast, but, decently after we wrapped it with the Lost Belt, so I've still got a few free quests and places to tag up as well. So we'll probably be at around 200-ish by the time it actually starts. Ticket supply 0. I have always been just a shotgunner of tickets, for better or worse. Sometimes it's very handy, sometimes it's not. I blew all the event and weekly login tickets during the Valentine's event on the Johanna banner exactly. Nothing. Actually, no, I shouldn't say nothing. I did get 1 copy of, like, the 5-star CE out of nowhere, which was nice, because I wasn't planning on it. But other than that, just not a lot. But there'll be, more weekly tickets and a few more in there, so we'll probably have enough for at least the bonus summon by the time the event actually starts. Because I'm not spending any during White Day period. And I don't think I have any. I'm pretty sure there's not any games that are coming out in March that I really need to buy, because we're ending this month with Monster Hunter basically. So guess what? FGO is just going to be my fucking monthly gaming budget next month. If I have to spend.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't have access to the infinite amounts of money that it used to. Not that they were actually ever infinite. But, we will see.
And, hey, listen, you guys, you like to support us, obviously. Just watching the video is good. Generate ad revenue, that kind of stuff. Memberships are nice. They're pretty cheap. But it is about to roll over to a new month, so if you have been considering support us on Patreon for a while, you could hop in for the month of March and continue to support our additional Tiamat and Draco funding. Check out some of our other content, our live streams. We're playing Halo right now. We're almost done with Halo Reach. Lucky's having a great time.
It is fun. But with that, let us move on. And this next one comes from the Tyrant King, crunching his final numbers before Tiamat arrives. Question: Hey Lucky, thinking about getting wild. What's some tips for beginners if I do decide to start? Also, favorite movie coming this year. Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way. Wah 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 wah. And hope you have a great evening. Oh man, how do I even begin? Well, I guess I think something that you should probably tell every beginner is practice your weapons. Pick up all the weapons, give them a whirl, test them out, run around with them, see which ones you like. Don't listen to people online about what's best and what's not best. The game is completely functional with every single weapons, and you will jive better with some than others. Like, Lucky is a wizard with a fucking, a great sword, long sword, dual blades, heavy bow gun, you know, but you put a fucking hammer or a hunting horn in my hand, I'm all like, what is this? Charge blade, I cut myself on it. Just trying to do all this stuff. I haven't really tried out Insect Glaive or bow, really.
I think I saw Loth of the Monster Hunter thread post. He literally learned something new about Charge Blade today. I don't know if it was a new tech for the new game or what.
No, but like there's a lot of weapons and they're all useful and unique in their own ways, so don't necessarily care about what other people have to say about how their weapon got no love or whatever. People are, as always, searching for the most effective way to do a thing, and usually less about actually enjoying the thing that they're doing.
And I want to say, actually, I've in the lead up, Capcom's actually been kind of supportive of that view, because I've seen them like getting in touch with like content creators and stuff, and basically have like reps for every weapon category.
Yeah,
like posting little videos on social media and stuff. So like, even Capcom is like, no, doofus, we put 14 weapons in the game for a reason.
Other than that, pick up everything. If you see it on the ground, pick it up. You might be able to mix it with something else. If you can, get Trank Bomb. Get Trank Bombs as quick as you can. I can't remember the top recipe for it off the top of my head, but capturing a monster generally saves you a little bit more time than straight up killing it. In previous Monster Hunter games, capturing a monster would also get you more materials, generally. I captured a monster earlier today, and I wasn't necessarily sure if I got more for it, but I don't know. If you want to know the best time to know when to capture a monster, make sure you pay attention to your little mini-map that has the indicator. If you see that the monster has a little, like, skulls coming off the top of the head, that means it's near death. It's probably heading for its lair to, you know, sleep it off. I don't know how they're going to sleep it off, but they do. Usually a good pitfall trap and a couple trank bombs will enough put them to sleep, and it'll end the quest fairly quickly. Other things, while your defense is good, do not necessarily slip on your elemental resistances. This is Monster Hunter. You will not find a one-stop solution in your gear. You'll have to switch sets, combine sets, and pick a lot of different weapons to best suit your needs. For example, the fire chicken, I can't remember what his fucking name is, breathes fire. That probably means if you have fire-resistant armor, you take less damage from it. Also, monsters will be weak against certain elements, so pay attention to that on your weapons as well. Lucky generally likes you just start building all the weapons in his preferred weapon trees, just so I can switch as needed.
And now, especially with the two weapon system, I didn't even think about it this way, because in the beta you only get one of each type, but like...
Yeah.
Hey, I turned the bits of fire chicken I got into a new longsword, and I was like, equipped now, and I'm like, as primary or secondary, I'm like, oh shit, actually, that is a thing I can do, can't I?
Yeah.
I could prepare two weapons of the same class, but with different stats, basically.
Yes. Like I said, there's a lot of different systems. I haven't fully got into it. Like I said, I only got my game like a few hours ago, so I haven't really like dug into the meat of it. Like I just got my second weapon unlocked. But above all, like I say, like try to have fun. Don't worry too much about what you're doing or optimal stuff. Play around with it. Go to the training area. Like I recommend this. Go to the training area and just swing weapons. Like, you'll learn how to do the combos, you'll get, like, prompts and stuff, you'll start seeing damages. I don't know if they'll start telling you, like, some of the, like, the particulars about it. Like, most weapons have, like, little things about them that, you gotta be aware for. Like, the number one thing, if you use a greatsword, you gotta learn, you don't actually hit with the base of the weapon or the tip with the weapon, you have to hit with the middle of the weapon, because that's where you do the most damage. If you hit too close to the monster, you don't dig in enough, and if you only hit with a tip, well, guess what? You just gave him the tip. I'm not entirely sure if other weapons operate in the same principle, but it's good to get a feel for these things, learn the numbers and stuff.
I mean, if they're bothering to model that for Greatsword, that is probably how that works for the other weapons, and also is actually true about leverage in real life. Like, we know it's all really cool when you take your really long sword and you just cut the guy on the cheek with, like, the tip, but, like, if you hit him with the whole blade, you could take off his head, you know? It's actually about, like, physics and stuff. Surface area, force, etc.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, unfortunately, all my other previous, like, you know, Monster know-how is from, you know, the previous gens. And, like I said, I'm gonna say, like, I'm not, like, necessarily, like, oh, I only do great swords because they're the coolest. it's just what I like and it's what I'm used to, so I just keep using what I'm used to. Like, usually, like, every couple gens, I pick up a new weapon, like, yeah, because it was like, when I started off in I started playing Monster Hunter on Monster Hunter Freedom for the PSP, and I picked up Great Sword and Bowgun at that time, and then I picked up dual swords and long swords along the way. I think what I'm probably gonna do this gen is I'm actually gonna probably pick up Sword and Shield and become a Sword Master, a Blade Master, master all edges. But like I said, it's gonna be a thing. Like, don't worry too much about your Monster Hunter experience. Just play the game, learn it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. I don't know. I'm rambling now. Lucky's rambling. We're moving on. So we're moving on. This next one comes from Soul of the Lightmore Discord and Certified KO Ken. They say, Dear Hunter Omega and Wild Child Lucky, just wanted to wish you both great vibes, mega wah 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 wah. Passing out now, so much hunting done today. So people have been in that Monster Hunter as soon as they can get it.
Yeah, no, I know some streamers who did like 12-hour drops. I think I saw some people posting on Twitter like in this day period because, you know, of early PC unlocks at like midnight. We're like, yes, I'm already in high rank. I'm like, damn, you guys are like, we're truly no lifing. That's okay. It's a brand new release. We're all hyped.
It's going. I'm behind. I gotta catch up, but I also want to keep playing Vintage Story. I'm torn between two worlds, y'all. But the next one comes from Exhausted Arts Chocolatier. They say, hello, Lucky Omega. Hope you're enjoying all the CEs from this round of Valentine's. My standouts from this year were probably Shufu and Kremhild, since I got to enjoy the Master Servant shenanigans. Many well wishes for the future as well. Well, thank you. The Valentine's this year's was quite interesting as always, and I enjoyed them all. But I do think some of my standouts was, as you said, Kremhild, Jufu, Summer Buki's also really good. I called this one out a lot, but Kotomine's very interesting. I really liked it. Very heavy implications and whatnot. If you know it, you know it. Cuckoo and Tenochtitlan, also great. No, they're just great. I'm already looking forward to what we're gonna get next year. It's gonna be awesome.
They're all very strong, yeah. One that I think was very surprising to me was Huang Fei, where they actually acknowledged like his sons, who are part of his like heroic legend, but like they all have different designs and like show up separately.
Oh, I did like for the Daikoku Tin. They actually voiced all the mice.
Yes, that's another good one.
Yes, that was good. Oh, so I think that's it. We're gonna move on to the next one. This next one comes from Dave spending too much on Lego. You're only spending too much because Lego is too expensive.
Lego is very expensive.
It is.
See, this is as a former Lego kid, had my Lego magazine subscription and shit. That is like, I found even if I haven't spent a lot on it like physically lately, I found Yu-Gi-Oh easier to get back into as an adult than Lego. You can get a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, even if they're not the cards you want, for the same price you can get a specific Lego set for these days. Shit's expensive.
What I'm always considering is, I know that there's some places, because I know Goodwill does this, that just they'll just sell you like a box of loose Lego pieces for pretty cheap. There's no specific sets or anything, you have no idea what you get in there, but if you just want like a fuck ton of Lego pieces to do stuff, that might be an option.
That would probably be what I would go for if I ever felt the need to Lego for anything.
But this person says, you guys ever think some of the Valentine scenes are too long? Some are over like 10 minutes now. Just couldn't do too many of those long ones in a row. Unfortunately, no, they're not too long for me. I love them. When I was doing the event, I would just be laying in bed and I just reading them back to back to back and going like, yeah.
I mean, I do think I understand, like, definitely depending on what you're doing, you know, it is a phone game, right? Some of the scenes are pretty long. I think it is just kind of evening out because a lot of the first gen scenes are turbo short. Like, even before they added the voice lines, they're short even for text-only scenes. So I think they're just balancing it out. I don't know. Some individual scenes may or may not seem too long. That's going to depend on your personal preference. But I think overall it's fine. Like you said, I usually just sit down and, you know, experience them all back to back.
I guess this is also partly because Lucky enjoys reading. Like, I don't know, if you want to get, like, necessarily just get back into the action or something, and you don't want to spend time, yeah, that might be a problem. But
well, and if you do want to think about your time budgeting, I would say, do them, like, don't try to do them all at once. Do them, like, you know, one at a time, like, in between quests or whatever. Just smash out a few, go back, so that you're not, if you are feeling pressed for time or don't necessarily feel like you're in a reading mood. I don't have those moods really. I think I could be down to read at any given time, unless my eyeballs are literally freaking out. It happens sometimes. You get eye strain or just fucking allergies, whatever. But like usually I'm like, also honestly, I still want to read when I'm like that. It's just that I'm like, I can't fucking read right now. My eyes are watering, you know. But all humans are different. We're made differently. There's no machine. So if you are not in a reading mood, I would absolutely say, well, just break that shit down into digestible chunks. Pop a couple lock-ons or surprises. Go back to what you were doing before.
So we'll move on from that. Last but not least, we got Agent 418 saying, hello, Lucky Omega. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Thank you, my dude.
You too.
But that'll be it for this week's mailbag.
Alrighty. Coming in at a crisp 46 minutes so far. Probably because we did not get too lost in the sauce in the mailbag. But thank you for all your contributions as usual. Sorry, I had to pause there because I'm joking about getting lost in the sauce, and I'm like, I'm shaking off the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm probably a little tired because I've been fucking, I won't say like on edge, but I like ordered groceries and I knew Monster Hunter was coming, so it's all the things of like, okay, well, I hope, my fucking half gallon of milk and my frozen pizza and shit has arrived okay. All right, that's good, great. When's this UPS truck gonna get here with my video game, Mm-hmm. And then we were playing Monster Hunter, so we'll be all right. Okay, time for free talk. Your free talk is going to be about Chaldea Heavy Industries, a.k.a. Chaldea Boys Collection 2025, a.k.a. Gouda Gouda 6.5, I think? Or 5.5? Because they call it a White Day event, but this is the joke made earlier about it being a Gouda Gouda in disguise is actually, like, literally correct. 7.5, damn. Well, we have had kind of one every year. Sorry.
Yep.
Accidentally tugged on my mic cable a little. All right. And also, unfortunate news, we immediately are doing another 3 million point ladder event. I'm not sure why we decided 3 million is the magic number, but that's what we're doing. This is also going to be a hybrid time gate event, but also to unlock new story quests, you are going to need to hit certain point milestones. So, for instance, to unlock, Act 2, you're going to need to wait till the correct day and also have, 40k points, etc., etc. Let me check real quick what your, minimum amount of points to actually get the final story chapter is going to be like. But this is at least going to be a full-size event. You are going to have, the full 20-ish days to do it. And let me see. Yes, so to get to your last section, you're going to need to have at least 555k points. So not super deep in the ladder, but you are not going to be able to do like we did with Valentine's and just, smash out the quest every day. You are going to have to be hitting your free quests also. This one is also technically slightly longer than the Valentine's Day we just got. You're going to have a prologue, 7 numbered chapters, and an epilogue. Because of the exchange ticket, there's no need to saddle you with an extra CE along the way, so this just gets you 7 Saint Quartz and a Grail.
Ta-da!
No extra stuff. Just, there you go. The double checking on the wiki and stuff, doing research, and I looking at the news announcements. I think this just requires a Fuyuki clear to access. I didn't see any notes about it in any particular chapter. And also, the actual story quest, the main quest, should be pretty simple. First of all, almost half of these are just non-battle pips, like story-only pips, and the numbers are pretty low. Act 2, yes, this means that you're going to get through the entirety of the prologue in Act 1 with no fights. Act 2, you got to fight a shitload of the old Kiheitai mobs, the flamethrower guys. You're going to fight three waves of 6 of them. They're going to have 6 guys on screen, pretty simple. Act 5 is going to have you fight a caster boss with 95, 146, and 236k HP, but the battle ends after 2 barbarics, so you don't even have to do the last one. Act 6, you're going to have a NPC Takasugi in your front line, because, he's new. He's part of the story. He will have a permanent NP seal, but it's okay because you just have to fight a giant caster ghost, of course.
Giant ghosts.
It might be a little anticlimactic, but I really hope somewhere before the story ends, we acknowledge the fact that it's always a giant, there has to be one last enemy who turns into a giant ghost before the game ends.
We were joking about wyverns at some point during the game, so...
Right. And then the final boss in Act 7 is going to be a saber. They're going to have 4 break bars, but they're all pretty low. It's 97, 105, 117, and 139k. They are gonna get buffs as their bars break, but you will be forced to use NPC Takasugi, and he will get story buffs, and he's an archer, so you'll probably be fine. Just pay attention to some of the turns. I think either the last bar break or the second to last gives him like 3 turns of NP damage resist. So just use your stuff accordingly, and also honestly, some of you guys are gonna be fine. Just bring your biggest leg breaker. You'll do okay. Even the free quests are pretty softball, chat. Your regular 90 is going to be 333 Riders. The boss is only 143k. So again, fairly straightforward. 90 plus is going to be Berserkers. That is going to be 313, and their HP, the maximum HP is going to be around 200k. I think it's 202k. Now, the 90 plus still gets a little freaky. That's going to be a mix of Berserkers and Sabers, and is going to be 113. The first wave has the biggest HP. It's going to be a Saber who's going to have 600k. So, like, that is truly for those of you who are, like, flexing your 100 level or higher servants out here, crunching some numbers. But you will probably be able to do some horseshit there. People in chat already thinking about hitting the crazy stuff.
Crazy.
Bring Super Orion to the boss fight. You can also probably bring a high-level Super Orion to that 90++ node. I don't know if you'll 3-turn it that way, but you won't lose. But yeah, so, like, they still give you some spice in the high levels, but, again, talking about how farming goes, I'm probably just gonna turbo the Rider node over and over again with Samurai Buki and just let her rip.
And there, baby.
I will tell you, that's gonna be slightly unfortunate, because we're gonna talk about bonus servants, and you're gonna notice the bonuses are only to damage and to bond. So you are getting through this 3 million points without necessarily any extra help from servants. Now, Takasugi and Maonobu get plus 100% damage and 50% bond bonus. Emiya, Alter, Hector, and Sasaki Kojiro get 50% damage up and 30% bond up.
Okay.
And Okuni gets only the 50% damage up. She does not get the bond bonus, but she is a bonus damage servant.
That's good.
And all male and, I just wrote in my notes, it's the shortest way to say it, all male and gender-fucked servants get plus 20% bond, no damage bonus. So this is everybody who has question marks, unknowns, multiple genders, all that shit, and males. Emiya Alter should also get a rank up here. But you'll notice that, like I said, that's only damage bonuses, and it's only a select number of servants. The points ladder is 3 million. It's going to give you all the stuff basically you saw from the Valentine's one, QP, MP, apples, command code stuff. You're going to get mats such as stand arrows, proofs, Hydra vodkas, and also going to give you 3 lures and 3 tickets.
Yeah!
So very solid stuff to get into. But there are no free CEs, no point CE in shop or ladder. The only bonuses will be the gotcha CEs. Now, all of them do come with not only a currency bonus, but a point bonus, which is proportional. And you do get one to pick for free, because it's called the Boys Collection. At least I think you only get 1 free CE ticket. I don't remember there being a note about a second. But yeah, it's been a long time since we had this sort of situation, but no, you will be cruising with basically whatever bonus you get from your free CE, and then just native drops, unless you're actually rolling on banners. Now, the shop does contain your usual EXP and foes, and continuing mats such as horseshoes, dragon fangs, pages, small bells, bullets, cores, gears, rings, dust, oni lanterns, oil lamps, bloodstones, and crowns. Also, 2 more lures, and saber, archer, assassin, berserker statues. So, it's going to be an interesting one with a 3 million point ladder, but that's really just, how many crystallized lures do you want to crunch? Which, admittedly, I would like to crunch all of them, but if we don't, there's more in the shop. That said, you will, because this is a full-length event, there are going to be several banners for this. The first summon campaign is going to be the new Archer Takatsugi, plus also you're going to get a rotation of every permanent and locked male unit in the game who's an SSR, so not only including, permanents you would expect, but also firing it up all the way to, Tesla, Ku Alter, Old Man Lee, etc. Yes, chat, you do hear Lucky's whistling for his secret in the background. Actually, they may not hear that after all. I'm looking back at the audio, and I'm like, I don't know how clear that came across on Audacity. I do edit a little bit of background noise out, but that one sounded, at least on Discord, a little more audible. But yeah, there are other banners. Banner 2, Mao, Izo. Banner 3, Lancer Ryoma, Izo. These do all have the gotcha CEs, obviously, but yes, you may notice that there are just straight-up Guda Guda rerun banners in this, We've stuck another EZO raid up somehow. So yeah, if you are planning on rolling for those servants, if you haven't hit your goals for Mao or Mao Nobunaga or Lancer Ryoma or EZOs, despite I make that joke about how many raid ups he has, some people may not have completed their set. You will be able to obviously get your gacha CEs, but we know that Lilith Harlot will be launching in late March, and depending on when they start it, we may get a little bit of overlap with Tiamat because she is the pre-release banner.
Yep.
And like I said, this is going to run the full 20 days, so if it's starting the 5th for the full 2 weeks, yeah, so I don't know. Somebody suggested it might come as early as the 19th. That's only 2 weeks in. I don't know if we'll start that far, but the back half of that week, the front half of the next week, we could fire Tiamat. We could fire that banner up. So, this one may be a little bit of a I don't want to say a struggle, because like I said, even the regular 90 node and even the 90++ node is pretty manageable. If you've got 2 different Mystic codes that order swap, and you've got self swappers, and it's 313, just they're berserkers, so your class advantage doesn't matter that much. Just fucking sweep, single target sweep. You could probably make that work, chat.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I may even try the berserkers. I may try just getting. Can I dust off the old Arash? Do we even need an order change? We'll try. Berserkers, easy clap. But you will be doing need to put in some time farming, like I said, because you will need to make at least 555,000 points of the 3 million points ladder to actually clear the main story and get your grail, which is very important. The grails are important. That said, also, during this time period, there is going to be special little My Room stuff going on. You will not only have rotating My Room banners, the My Room backdrop will change regularly, but also there's a weird little feature. First of all, this is the way they premiered you can put 2 servants in My Room for a limited time.
Mm.
And also, this is very funny because Fujifilm Instax just got added to Final Fantasy XIV as an emote, but you'll be able to take Instax-style photos of your servants in My Room. The graphic seems to suggest that there's going to be a little corkboard thing where you can display them, not a screenshot tool. But so there will be, multiple backgrounds, and you can also do some photographizing. I do feel much like there was the when you could activate My Room random meme, I feel like there were some memes about putting 2 servants in My Room when this event launched.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there'll be some extra fun stuff. Very much a fun time. Look forward to a Wanted on Takasugi Shinsaku coming out sometime next week. But yeah, that's the pregame.
Yeah.
And that will bring us to the end of the Caldea Free Talk and move into the What's Up Zone, where we'll be here for a little bit.
A little
while. But yeah, several things to talk about. Well, to the top of my notes, so I guess we should we can start with Vintage Story, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, we've been playing it a lot. I keep wanting to say we're in winter, but I don't technically think we are yet still.
What are we, mid-December?
Yeah, I don't actually know. Well, I haven't logged in today, so I don't know how many days you did earlier, because the server was still up.
Well, I only popped in for a little bit and popped back out.
Yeah, I think
but we did go a little bit later last.
It was mid-November when I left, so it could be early December?
I feel like it's a bit later than that, but I don't remember.
Well, our adventuring did take a couple of extra days, so I'm not sure, actually. I didn't check the calendar before.
We did have some nice adventures.
And because it's so fucking cold and dark, we burned through some of those days pretty fast. I think digging the hole indeed literally went from sun up to sundown.
Yeah. Well, we dug the fucking Metal Gear Solid 3 shaft. All right.
Sure. It was a lot of blocks.
It was a lot of blocks.
But yeah, so winter has come to V2.
Yeah, we're not done with V2 yet, but we are already starting to talk about V3. Just the more we play the game, the more we understand, and more kind of understand what we want to do in it and what we need. I didn't actually really understand this until Aaron explained it to me, but our world is 1 million blocks by 1 million blocks, and apparently we have equators what was it every 100K right now or something?
Yeah, something like that. He explained that because he basically I think we were in the middle of doing something in 14, but he typed a note of basically saying I figured out how to make the settings work so that you have 2 poles and 1 equator in the middle, and you were just was that not how it was already? And the answer was no, actually. Funnily enough, no. So yeah, we don't actually exist in a like North Pole, South Pole, equator world. We exist in a world that has like alternating bands of like polar climates to equatorial climates and then back.
Yeah, that's wild to think about. It's fucking wild to think about.
Which I guess means that if we are truly towards the more center region of the world, if we did go far enough north, we might actually find warmer climates.
That's wild.
Yeah, so hey, that's one of the things we're thinking about. We're probably going to fix for V3 is balance out the temperature regions, I guess, the climate areas.
Yeah, but it's been fun. Like I said, we're not done with V2 though. We still have a bunch to do. We're still exploring. Everyone's trying to get their little projects up they're going. I'm still trying to figure out like certain mechanics. I finally got a pulverizer working, and that was a treat to figure out. Though I gotta install another fucking windmill into the village. Not that I mind that. I genuinely love looking at windmills and seeing them spin. I might just go, fuck yeah.
And they are pretty. It's one of those things in game that you see them spinning up, and you're like, oh, that's very neat.
It is. But I finally got cheese. I have waxed it. It's ripening on the shelf. Soon we'll have the cheddar.
Yeah, that was a thing we talked about with V1. We went through an entire in-game year and never got dairy.
Yeah.
And even though we went into this world with like Lucky being like, I will be the farmer, I will capture animals and sort their shit out. We've still gotten to like it's starting to be winter now, and we've finally done it. We've got cheese.
Yeah. No, we got several animals. We got chickens. We got sheep. We got boars. It's just that you actually have to breed them up through vicarious amounts of inbreeding, if I may say, to get them so that they actually want to do things and don't try to kill you constantly.
Yeah. The chickens are probably the easiest to handle. I mean, that's something we even managed in V1, but definitely for the whole crew, the boars, I think, have been the most troubling to us. And I know you personally have had the most problem with the sheep and goats, with the way the milking is, to try and get enough milk to actually make the fucking cheese.
Yeah. No, but it's a learning experience every time, and every lesson that I learn here is a lesson that I get to take into whatever the next one is. Like I said, we'll be thinking about like maybe adding mods, taking away mods, like I don't know, I might try to convince Aaron to maybe remove the wildcraft. Because I don't know about you, you don't actually have to weigh in, but I find just having so many different crazy fucking options for things is a bit overwhelming. Like, especially when said options are not compatible with other things.
Yeah, I mean, I like the concept of the extra woods, but definitely, like, the trees and shrubs is, like, that is a genuine problem for us sometimes. We're like, why can't I make this recipe work? Well, the Wildcraft mod team forgot to make it so the fucking planks work.
So
I think that literally was a problem when Axe did not get it powered, but he built, like, a pulverizer frame, like, sometime last week, and he was like, why can't I make this work? And I'm like, did you make sure all the planks are vanilla? And he was like, no, one non-vanilla plank snuck in there. And it fucked the whole thing up. And we were like, we don't know what's going on. So yeah, no, like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, if we make the world more traversable, the ability to like, cultivate the vanilla herbs by just stabbing them is, like, cool, but...
Well, no, you see, that's not the Wildcraft. That's in a Wild Farming Revival, which is a different mod we have.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering if this were linked up. Okay, yeah, no. I mean, the extra berry bushes are cool. Like, you may lose your wild raspberries then.
I'd be okay. Like, I was thinking about it, I'd be okay with that. Because, again, like, I feel like because we have so many different options of things that we might not be getting some of the other things we could be getting, because we, like, the spaces where they would be filled by something else.
Could be, it's true. And there's a few things that, like, we've still never seen properly. Like, I think I asked this because, talking about, like, getting new experiences, like, I've, dabbled a little with, like, baking to go with the tea-making mod, which took a little bit of time to crack exactly how that worked, because it's one of those things that's, like a lot of stuff in Vintage Story is a little finicky, and the mod maker probably could have written it a little plainer, but it's just kind of a funny way. I think my biggest problem was realizing that it's, like lots of things, it's one of those, like, you need to have your ratios right. So the teapot holds up to 2 liters of water. If you want to make 2 liters of tea, you have to put 2 of the herb you're trying to brew in, not just 1. I don't think there's anywhere in the documentation that tells you this. I just had to be like, well, let me try putting 2 in here and see. Because I couldn't take 1 back out after I put it in. But like, one of the things you can do with like bread dough with some of the cooking mods we have that I think are generally a positive is like you can knead like herbal bread dough and cook it. And I'm like, hey, has anyone ever seen wild lavender or like any cooking herbs? And we were all like, no, I don't think so. Never seen a black pepper? So yeah, we still have unexplored stuff with our mods, even if we did cut some mods down. I do, like I said, some of the extra trees are cool, but some of them are definitely just like weird and annoying because they're weird.
Like I'm like, I don't want to say like I'm like but like I just genuinely like I look at the trees, I'm all like, yeah, I generally like, like using like, pine, maple for my stuff. Maybe oak if there's enough, but generally when we run into like the new mod trees, there's like maybe a couple of them, and I'm just like, I really don't want to cut these down because I don't know if I'm gonna find them anywhere. You don't find forest of the new trees. You find like 1 or 2 somewhere, and you're just like, neat. So it makes it really hard for me to want to use them.
And honestly, I think color-wise, I think all of the vanilla tree types are pretty good. Like, we didn't really get the chance to experiment with ebony or acacia because we planted those, like, at the tail end of fall, and it got cold.
Too cold.
But, you were able to grow some tropical kapok trees, which are kind of like a greenish tint.
Yeah.
And there's also green bamboo if we ever found it. So, like, I think there's enough range for our colors. And honestly, if that's, talking about our other technology steps, it's a long drawn out process, but we're starting up to build into the stuff. But like, when we can get to like the pottery kiln, the beehive kiln, that does actually like let us vary the color of our potted goods some. So, we can actually like get some cosmetic variance in what we're doing. And I think that's kind of the stage we're at with like learning wise is like getting to that next level.
Oh yeah, no, because we're definitely at we need the kilns, we need to get hotter and whatnot. Also, one of those things of realizing how, like, in the future, I need to better plan out spaces and whatnot. The public smithy and the public pottery barn are nice and all, but once you start needing kilns and pulverizers and... Oh, I know Axe is probably going to need a help hammer at some point, probably. I don't know. But...
At the very least, I think Axe has the easiest space-wise because he just added a second floor onto his house to put all the shit.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the shit in the second floor yet, but he had the space to build vertically, which is where the like public area does not, because in order to maintain the integrity of the hillside, we built a tree farm over there, which is also very important because those are pine trees that give us resin.
Axe, you're probably just trying to light the fire in the wrong area. I said I have been firing red bricks at the public area this entire time. You probably just got to build some sheltering walls or something.
Maybe get some rock fences, or I know you don't want to because it's a mess. If you finish the roof, that might help. I also like was lighting fires the old-fashioned way with the fucking whatchamacallit, the fire starter. Literally until last time we all played together, or most of us played together, where Lucky was like, I found some brass torch holders in a bin, and I was like, I need those. I'm tired of trying to light fires with the fire starter. Shit sucks. But I was able to like light fires by just like crouching in corners and stuff. I think you just need, for the cold, you just need like a roof and a little bit of insulation so that you're not like just directly out of the open air.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, my own personal pottery kilns, which I haven't had to use in a while, but I have made, are in my fucking cellar under my shop. I dug a little hobbit hole for those. God knows we have the clay.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I figured you were getting burnt out from it, Axis, and you haven't wanted to play with us.
Mm-hmm. Getting back into stuff. Well, this is the thing I talked about earlier with like the working on the audio editing. We have been so intense on Vintage Story that's like there's only so much multitasking I can do on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know all of you listening want, well, not everybody probably, but many of you want the LV6 recap like compilation. But it is a lot of working to be done, and it's not like I promised I would get it done by blah 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 or I'll die or something. This isn't Crank 2 where if I don't release the Lost Belt recap, by March, my heart will stop. Crazy movie series, by the way, Crank and Crank 2. Did they make a Crank 3? I love them both.
I don't know if there's a Crank 3. I hope there's not a Crank 3. I prefer for Crank 3 would probably be bad.
No, the Crank 2 was perfect. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, Crank 1 and Crank 2, love them to death.
No. But like, working on Rain, making sure that's ready most weeks. And as much as occasionally I think some of the audio and even some of the players are like, oh, you make it seem so natural. there's a lot of work that goes on, okay? Like, even for acting stuff, I think about a lot of scenes I plan to have off the top of my head. And I think you can definitely, well, I'll say definitely because of, the feelings I have about myself. The actual answer is probably you can tell when I'm doing something that is less quote-unquote unscripted, where people start dialogue kind of off the cuff, and I have to think about how characters respond versus, like, I've definitely been thinking about how this character would respond to everything all week. But
that was kind of me last week.
Oh, I know many of the players think about what they're gonna say or do, like, all week ahead of time for your own individual scenes. As always, as the game master, my thing is that I have to be there for all of this. Well, actually, that's not true. We have a lot of inter-party dialogue in this campaign, I think, more than ever. And honestly, there are times where I just kind of, like, if you guys are not asking me world questions, I just kind of, like, sit back and just relax while you guys are doing it, because I'm like, okay, they've got this. They don't need me for a little bit. They're doing it. But, like I said, Rain requires, like, prep work of, like, exposition and shit, because, you guys, what would I say? Not entirely unfounded, but you guys a couple weeks ago, and I say you guys, it was mostly you, Lucky, and Axe as Lesluck's idea. You were the two like leaders of that scene. I think the rest of the players, except for probably Aaron, is Conrad. But Conrad as a character is kind of like, for a lot of things you guys do, he just kind of is like, I won't say smile and nod, but he just kind of like stoically deals with it.
Yeah.
And then, there are times when he's certainly like, no, don't do that, or I want to do this, but a lot of times he kind of feels like as a character he's just along for the ride. But definitely I know that week that conversation happened with Kefis on the carriage, I'm pretty sure both Loth and Dallas were a little out of it. But, like, you guys added an extra leg to your trip, and I'm like, okay, alright, wasn't planning on you guys going to this area just yet. Obviously, you probably would go there eventually, but that means we have to start filling out some stuff. And also, ideally not have it take too long, because as much as you guys are gonna do interesting things in Tron, it's also like, man, you guys want to be back, your characters want to be back, the NPCs want you back. But like I said, it was definitely a thing of like, well, Axe, here's the thing. Why would I say no, though? Like, that doesn't... Maybe this is a thing about how I am as a game master, but, like, why would I say no? You have the power to go there. Like, well, actually,
it's not like we decided. It's not like we decided, like, hey, let's go to the fucking cauldron right now, and just went off on a fucking bender.
No, you asked about it ahead of time. Like, I guess if I really want you not to go, I was gonna say I could have, like, as a character building moment, Duke Tellez be, like, rude to you and, like, tell you to fuck off. But also, like, one, that would be very suspicious and inhospitable of him. That's not to be expected. But also, two, the reason why I backtracked on that was immediately like, oh, also, you guys aren't even going to ask, like, you'll inform him eventually, but you're not actually asking him. I mean, you guys did give me enough warning. Like, if at the end of last session you guys were at your boat and were like, hey, let's plan a big long trip to Trone all of a sudden, it's like, I have to be like, okay, hold on, you're going to give me some time to crack on with this. But again, generally the way I run the game is you guys are kind of like, I don't want to say leading the plot by the nose, but like, you guys have agency in this world, and it's deliberately set up that you guys have agency, and like, because of that, I don't want to set arbitrary barriers. Like, the whole point of this setup is you guys are supposed to be, powerful, influential, have opportunities. So I wouldn't just be like, well, no, guys, I haven't, I don't have anything prepped for a surprise visit to the cauldron, for instance. Even if I don't, I would have to tell you guys. Luckily, you're all traveling by boats, so it takes you weeks to get anywhere. Oh. But it was still a moment of like, well, I gotta work on planning that. But we got off a little onto Rain off Vintage Story, but we have been jamming a lot of Vintage Story, so we're still working on things. I will say, I feel like not everything about Vintage, but a decent amount of the stuff from Vintage Story does kind of, I think, make some of us think about what's going on with Rain, because, some of our tech levels are similar. Mm-hmm. Like thinking about like how involved it is to actually, make this thing or that thing or have these spaces.
Yeah.
But yes, Vintage is something that's ongoing. Like I said, like you said, we're not planning on V3 just yet, especially with Monhun just coming out and most of the Vintage Story team being in it. I don't know how fast paced we'll get through V2, but there's still stuff that's like, no, I do still want to try and like crack this knowledge or find this place or see what this is like. Mm-hmm. Like we literally just started firing up translocators. Yeah. Which we probably should have been doing a little sooner, but also we were trying to get everybody temporal gears to actually like respawn correctly. But, that was actually a whole thing. We went on a couple of adventures to explorify those. And, those took us to interesting places. One actually was close to some new resources, pretty far away. Had some new ruins to explore and shit.
Mm-hmm. Second one tended to put us half a day from Pier 2 imports.
Yeah. Also, yes, again, we talked about this on the stream. We've streamed Vintage Story a couple of times, Chad. If you haven't checked it out, go hit it up. You'll see what we're dealing with. The last one was just this week, so it was in the middle of all this fucking snow and ice shit.
Snow and ice shit.
Our lake has literally iced over and snowed over the ice.
Makes hunting really easy when you can just watch rabbits and boars just walking across the ice. I'm like, well, there's a clean shot if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, but we like to have funny names for things. I'm not sure exactly when you started on it, Lucky, but the windmills, for instance, are all theme named.
Yes, we have a first breakfast, second breakfast, and the third one's going to be called 11 C's.
Yeah, and I kind of took that with the way I named my not really a tea shop because we're not really doing any economy, but the tea place, afternoon tea, your local cafe. The potion shop was already named already as being the shop that is above the potion cellar with a C. And then after that, I just got some, I think this is the thing we talked about, which was off stream on Thursday, but it was talking about you were trying to think, what should I call the expanded pottery area? And I was like, what do you call a place to do pottery? I was like, Pottery Barn. And you were like, we have actually been naming things after businesses because I named the first dock the Harbor and Freight Company. And then the second dock was what instantly came to my mind is, like you just said, was Pier 2, imports. Because it's the second pier. And it's supposed to be for imports. Well, technically you export out of there, but you know what I mean, Chad. So yeah, finding that portal there was like you said, it's about half a day. It's a little bit of a hike, but it is I opened up the map and I was like, oh shit, we're in that region of the world. Considering that the first portal we did was in a completely different ass region of the world that may actually be a couple oceans away. I didn't have anywhere directly close to it on my map.
No, neither did I. I definitely did not.
So yeah, we're still trying to figure out this world and explore it. Was it? Yeah, I think it was Loth brought back an abandoned mine map that was actually on our current continent.
Yeah,
and reasonably close. So that's a thing we'd like to do with a larger group and check out still. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
No, it's fun to get out there and adventure and explore. I'll definitely say I'm not one of the the adventure explorer ones. I go out when I need resources or something. I'm not afraid to trade the treasure, but I'm usually much more comfortable just being at home and building something. I think I can honestly say I've built half the fucking Shire myself.
Well, yeah, two windmills, all the crop plots converted to greenhouses, your own place, the animal pens, which are also semi-greenhouses, the apiary. Mm-hmm. I think we've all got our own buildings. We've kind of gone through our own steps, of refining them. And I've myself built a couple of buildings. Mm-hmm. Aaron's big tower is very handy because you can see it for fucking miles around. But it is also some of the stuff of just when we were picking places and settling down, we just didn't know what we were doing when we started this world. We ended up settling probably in a colder region. We did go a little bit north to settle, and we are technically up in some mountains, but that means that we did go up into the higher altitudes, so it got colder where we were sooner. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things of we weren't really thinking about that when we got here. We were thinking, oh, let's find a nice, pretty little lake we can all settle around so we can be kind of, a more organized village, but also have more room to spread out.
Was important. V1, we were very tight.
V1 was I would call us a compound or, a little commune, but we never actually walled in our entire area. But we were all, like you said, very close together, We started with a fucking longhouse hut and then built around it. Yeah. And it was very, I was going to say orderly, but it also wasn't orderly. It was, I guess because we found the water source and stuff and we, built a house next to it, we kind of, figured out where our invisible borders were, and we had to do the best we could with where we was. And, not quite, the talk about, the sorry, excuse me, burp snuck up on me. But the building code and stuff. But definitely with V2, it's definitely had more hey, let's try not to, we have a nice tree line along this hill. Let's try not to cut down every single tree over there. Even, some of the guys taking it upon themselves to be well, let's not, carve up the entire mountainside to show our tunnels. Let's make smaller, orderly tunnels so we can make giant hell pits under them. had to wall up the quartz mine. Demons in there. And the demons are working with the boars and the wolves. Still very bullshit, by the way, that, like, you can get simultaneously aggroed by drifters and wildlife. And the boars are still mean. But, you know, we've also made great strides. I think most of us have figured out the weapon stuff we like. We've been increasing our armor tiers recently, you know, realizing that that's actually is pretty important. Start building up that defense. And some stuff is easier. We did keep the setting where we switched the setting so that you can, sleep during temporal storms. So we've had a couple we have just been able to sleep through because they occurred during our natural sleep time. So all in all, very fun. Anything else about VS you want to talk about, Leggy?
No. Like, even we're not, like... Honestly, you think I'm playing Monster Hunter Wilds right now. I'm not. I'm actually in my single player of Vintage Story right now, because I can do that and talk at the same time. I can't Monster Hunter and talk at the same time. I can't. I'm not that good yet. So, like, even if we're not, like, playing on the server, I'll probably still be getting a fair amount of Vintage Story in. Because I'm assuming that once we get out of here, I'll probably ask around and see if we're going to party up for anything or not.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
I could for you, but it is, you know, it is the Monster Hunter Day.
Monster Hunter Day.
And we do have quite a lot of people playing. And in general, lots of people are playing. Game's doing pretty good, if you haven't heard or seen. Like, crazy high peak concurrence on Steam, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you know, a good day to be monster hunting. We can't talk really at length because both of us are not very far in the game. Like, you know, I completed a couple of basic quests.
Lucky's completed a couple basic quests.
It is kind of interesting to me having done the 2 open betas and got some little rewards for it. They've actually got their whole, like, online infrastructure pretty down. There's, you know, fucking login bonuses daily, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, they have that shit on lockdown back in the world. Maybe even earlier, but I don't remember.
Definitely would have had the infrastructure for World, but it's one of those things that's always just, you know, like I said, I'm pretty fresh eyes to go through and be like, oh yeah, no, we're here. That's nice. Got all that stuff. Got a few pre-order bonuses, and, you know, I did get my, you know, the little OBT bonuses.
Yeah.
Just some extra shit. But I was kind of surprising that, like, fairly early on, basically, like, the next step of the main story after the fire chicken fight is like, hey, let's check out the forest. And I'm like, the forest? I was right there the whole time? Was, but the beta was pretty focused. I think, honestly, also, I've already seen some more, you know, small guys around I never saw in the beta as well.
Oh, actually, I just realized my steel case is bent. Oh, when did that happen?
Trying to ship too many Monster Hunter. Throwing them in crates. Gotta get them out before the tariffs hit. Didn't actually remind me. I remember there was an announcement like a week or two ago where, I think it was Sony overall, but it might have just been the PlayStation division, announced that they're working on strategic plans to get around any possible actual tariff effects in the States, including what they described as building up a strategic hardware reserve in America. So much like our strategic oil reserves, I guess Sony is going to start, you know, building up vaults of PS5s and PS5 Pros just in case. But yeah, no. So like we're still early, but I talked about, you know, like when I did the first open beta, I was like, oh man, you know, I'm not 100% sure if this is for me. The, you know, the control scheme, you know, felt really out there, and you know, I think after playing through the 2 betas and just getting into the game and kind of being able to start working on my own time, I'm like, no, this definitely like feels better. Would I say I know what I'm doing? But I'm most of the time hitting the button I intend to hit to do the stuff I want to do, you know? We're dodging, we're healing correctly, we're slurping up stuff, and it's a pretty good start. Already, you know, had enough materials to start, you know, crafting new weapons and armor.
The best feeling.
Just start, you know, loading up. So yeah, it's going. And like you mentioned about the open beta, just like the fact that like we can just go like actually start improvifying is good. Like, literally, I could, you know, stop doing the main quest, like, right now and go hunt Chalubras to, you know, make that set if I felt I needed it. Stuff like that. You know, I got some bones up there, a way to make most of the bone set, which was mostly a straight upgrade over the starting armor. Slightly different traits, you know, but still, like, generally improved stuff. Fire Chicken gives you some stuff I could make into armor too, but that's got, like, better defense, but it has, you know, negatives to elemental resistance. So it's like, I'll save that for when I feel like I need a heartier suit that I am hopeful that a monster will not water me to death. Been fishing a little, seen some water, started fishing, caught some guys, lots of fun stuff. So yeah, it'll be a good time. We'll probably have much more to say next week after solid week of playing it, but well, I'm having fun. Pretty sure Lucky's having fun.
I'm having fun. Yeah. Gonna have more fun too.
Yeah. I also will say, just again, something is like my only exposure to like the plot of these games is like vaguely what people have said and like terminal montage videos. So I have to admit that like I'm not like super invested in the story yet because it's very simple, but I am like interested in it because I'm like I genuinely don't know what the rules and limits of this universe are. I do not know where this is going. You know, we're looking for a village of a group called the Keepers in the Forbidden Lands, and none of the other locals know where the fuck this is, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, you know, what big reveals we're going to get here. Will it be anything? Will it be nothing? Will it just be, and it turns out they were living, you know, above a giant monster the whole time? Who knows? I suppose. They're probably living over a giant monster the whole time anyway, but I don't know if that will be the point of the plot or not. You know, just simple stuff like, and the rest of it is all just kind of like, and this is something I think I've heard before about Monster Hunter, but I do appreciate, is just like, obviously, yes, these games are about kicking the shit out of monsters and stealing their stuff. And by their stuff, I mean their flesh and bones. But I love that these games have this kind of, like, genuine enthusiasm and respect for nature. Like, nobody out here, none of the NPCs I've met are like, yeah, we're here, we're gonna kill all the monsters. I'm gonna get 10,000 skulls for my skull wall. No, it's like everybody's like, ooh, you know, look at this, you know, this plant or this creature. What's going on here? Oh, why is the water red? You know, and even like the locals are talking about like, yes, it's going to be our sandstorm season and there's going to be a shitload of lightning, but then new spring comes and it's like, it's nice. It's nice to kind of like, obviously, you know, you can appreciate just punching monsters to punch monsters. Doom is very popular. Nobody really thinks about the deeper implications of why we feel the need to punch the denizens of hell. They're there, and we must punch them, or shoot them, or chainsaw them.
Or crush them.
Crush their skulls. Mods. Glory attack him. But, like I said, Monhun does have this kind of, like, baked-in, like, respect and appreciation for nature. You know, even going so far as to, like, talk about, you know, your player character, the hunter, with your giant weapons and being like, oh, no. You know, you approach some locals. Don't worry about this person's giant sword gun thing. Only those with proper qualification are allowed to carry these, and never use them against humans. You know, they can only use them with special permission, right? So it's neat. We're all learning things, chat. Well, it's been a couple weeks, actually. I know we've been super intensely vintage storying, but anything else you'd like to bring up, Lucky?
No, well, I guess in the lead up for like this ain't Monster Hunter or vintage story related, but it is game related. I did finally try Sonic Frontiers.
That's
it was
true.
free on PlayStation. It's free on PlayStation Plus, and I do have to say I like it. I enjoy it. Makes me think back to Sonic Adventure back on the Dreamcast. Yes, I know it was on other things, but I played it on the Dreamcast, y'all. That console did exist. And there's just something about like this open world Sonic where you just unlock the map and you just start unlocking more rails to grind and springs to bounce off. That's just a joy to run around. I also enjoyed, they also have, like, you know, more to, like, quote-unquote traditional stages, and they're, you know, in the 2D or 3D model, which I also enjoy because, guess what, they're timed, and, you know, if you want to get all the rewards, you gotta get, you know, the S time, and Sonic Frontiers I think is a little hilarious because either getting S is really hard or really easy. There is no in between. Either I get it my first fucking try, no sweat, or I have to spend like 30 minutes to an hour retrying the stage constantly to get the S. It's like it's a little silly, but it's fun. As for the story, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Man,
I don't know.
dude, fucking. I say this with all due respect to an icon of the community. Do Sonic games have, like, story stuff? Like, I know they have narrative, they have a plot, but are we actually weaving a story for the most part, or is the point just that Sonic runs fast, man? I don't know. People are typing in chat. Okay, so Frontiers is doing more stuff, but still, it's one of those things that's like, are we coming to Sonic as a franchise for narrative? Probably not.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of Sonic comics. There's been Sonic comics since the fucking 90s, y'all. No, but, like, when I play a Sonic game, I don't necessarily think I'm going in there for the story beats or an overarching plot. I don't ever feel like any of the Sonic games are connected directly to each other. There are a few, like, some notable examples, but usually it's just like, hey, we tried a new Sonic formula, here you go, do you like it? It's jank as fuck. It's like, or they, like, try, like, they constantly, like, try to Yeah, no, like, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, perfectly fine in my books. Like
I think there's a reason why everybody remembers the adventure games. I think are kind of the gold standard, even if parts of them are a little jank. Like most people forgive them because there is something there.
Yeah, but like there's like so many other Sonic games, like Sonic Colors, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic 06,
Sonic Heroes,
Sonic Boom. It's like,
what was it just Sonic and the Mystery of the Genie? There was a Genie one?
I was like, and every once in a while they like come out with something like Generations, or what was the one that came out?
Generations Forces.
Like Lost
Sonic
Worlds, I think
Mania?
it was or something.
I feel like Lost Worlds was the name of one. It's this weird case where like, and I think talking about like the comics and like the animated cartoons, of which there were two, which were I think they were airing simultaneously at some points. The Sonic franchise has always kind of been open-ended and like varied. So I feel like at different times, different games have tried to like play to different sectors of the audience. Because like some of the Sonic comics, I don't want to say all of them, but some of them are more serious, and the like what we call now Sat AM was like a little more serious, a little more darker in tone. So like some of the Sonic games are a little more on that end. But other times, there's we're a little goofier, a little goobier. I actually watched fucking some amount of I don't know how much, but some amount of Sonic X when I was a kid. But if you wanted me to tell you what the plot of that was, I could not. All I know is that Sonic got transposed into the real world from the Sonic dimension, and he did Sonic things. Pretty sure that's what was happening in that show. Now, the title theme burned into my brain. Very catchy, even though they just said "gotta go fast" a lot. But like I said, I feel like the creators, kind of get pulled in different directions because the franchise has been so broad for so long, and so they kind of decide: are we going a little more lighter-hearted? Are we going a little heavy cut? Frontiers being Meteor is probably a good sign because like Frontiers was like the first like I want to say like unquestionably good Sonic game in a while. I know that there were still like some frustrations because I think there were some technical issues because I believe Sonic games are historically rushed as fuck usually. But like most people are like, yeah, no, this game is pretty good, thumbs up. So that means that hopefully they'll do more in that vein. But also they're still doing shit like actually let's talk about like the state of play a while, right? They're doing Sonic Racing Cross Dimension or whatever.
People seem excited for it.
I mean, I think I've had some demos or some betas around, so like it seems like controls fine. Like aesthetically, I still have a hard time getting over like, hey, we put Sonic in a car. And they're just like, okay, that's just like.
I think it's always been explained. It's so that everyone else has a chance to win, and it's just not Sonic every time.
And that's totally fair. Like, I appreciate that the styling is just like, yeah, no, we're just all gonna be in cars, and not like go-karts. Like Mario Kart usually is actually like go-karts or dirt bikes or something, right? We're gonna be in tiny cars, and I'm just like, hey man, it's Sonic, man. I don't know, I don't care. It's funny to me visually, but they're doing their own thing. And also, people would probably, despite the fact that it's fucking the year 2020, if they actually were in go-karts, some people would be like, hoo, just ripping off Mario Kart. Don't know about the power-ups in the new Sonic racing game. I don't know if it's as destructive as Mario Kart. Let me tell you, I've played some Mario Kart in my time, chat. That's always a son of a bitch. But yeah, always fun to hear when you just find a little game on like PS Plus and you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Sorry, another person coming. I was going to say that you were earlier this week for a hot second posting about your attempts to slam those S ranks.
Yeah. Apparently I didn't know that, but like apparently like the second level that you can get is apparently one of the fucking hardest to S rank. And I was just like, oh, this is great.
Just accidentally stumbling into I guess legendary level right out the gate. Very fun.
No, but I did. Like, this is one of those things that, I was talking about it in difficult, like, talking about, like, enjoying, like, hard content. I think Sonic Frontier and a lot of, like, their level design and stuff makes it actually very enjoyable to try and get that S rank. Like, especially on the harder ones. Like, there were several times, like, like on the easy ones where I'm, because each of the cyberspace levels, is what they're called, have, like, several objectives you have to get. You have to complete the level, have to collect all of the five red rings. you usually get some amount of regular rings, and you have to beat a time. So usually, no matter what, I have to do it a couple times because I usually don't get all the rings, or I don't get all the red rings, and the time one. Duh. But there's been a couple times in some levels where I'm trying to get the red rings, I stop, run back, jump over a couple places, and like run to the exit, and I still get an S rank, and I'm just all like, that's not how that's supposed to work. And in other levels, like, I am like constantly doing things. I'm like looking at like watching my path and saying, all right, so here I need to slide. Here I need to drop down. Don't jump. Jumping will slow me down. Here I need to stomp so I can immediately boost so I don't lose speed. And like, or here, don't hit the enemies. Just jump between them. If I homing attack one of them, I'll stop. Lucky's not actually good at boost dashing. I know it's a thing. Lucky can't do it that good right now. So, I'm constantly, like, noting these ways, just, constantly shave off time so I can get that S ranks. And I enjoy that. And I think that's what's important, in the game, is that you can, like, have fun, challenging yourself to get faster and faster, finding visible ways to improve, each run, each time. God, and, like, at 1-2, I remember, like, what really saved me is, like, I realized at some point, like, right, like, at the end, I realized that I didn't actually have to go under this building. If I just jumped at a certain point, I would just jump over the building and take me right to the exit. I'm like, aha! And, I implemented that. So, finding out those little ways to do things, or finding out, like, where that one spring was hiding so you can, like, bypass another zone and stuff, like, that's a good feeling. So,
I think you're definitely talking about some core gamer shit right there. Like, you're conjuring up in me talking about, like, shaving and not engaging enemies. Like, this is, like, memories of, like, doing certain, like, maps and challenges and shit, like Super Mario Galaxy or Sunshine, right? Where it's, like Galaxy, like, the cosmic race, go faster than Space Mario. Like, yeah, you don't fight enemies when you're doing, like, speed challenges, right? Like, because you got shit to do,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, very...
No, it's good. So I think Sonic Frontier is a good game, and that was it. So I probably, now that I got Wilds, I'm probably not going to be picking it up anytime soon, but I'm going to try and keep at it. I mean, because I think there's like, there's like there's only like 4 or 5, there's like 4 or 5 islands, I don't remember how many, and I've only completed the first one, saw some shit, fought a Titan, turned into Supersonic, God, Supersonic is such a weird concept to me, but it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Boss music's pretty good. Like, honestly, I think, like, I don't think music has ever been something that Sonic has ever been bad at, the more I think about it. Like, all the way back at the Sega Genesis, Sonic music has always been pretty fucking good, in my opinion.
You know the notes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, some of the specific Sonic synthesizers may be, like, a little, like, overused, a little loud, but they were doing a thing at the time. And, like I said, I don't think Sonic is, like, super... typically anyway, super deep with, their musical selections. Like, a lot of their classic songs are kind of like what people think of as, like, butt rock.
Sometimes.
Just like jamming out on guitars. I say this with love, by the way, as the guy who goes, oh shit, man, they're just playing guitars, they got me. So, like, I appreciate it, but they usually have some pretty strong hitters.
No, I just think about, like, from, Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Generations, Sonic Colors also had some really good music. Sonic Frontiers also has some good music. I haven't, like, gone through all of it, but,
Frontiers is a very strong soundtrack, yes.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember necessarily. Oh, like, the Sega Genesis fucking 16, like, the 16-bit Sega ones had good music, but that's, good retro console fucking music,
Yeah.
But no, like, I'm happy with Sonic Frontiers, and eventually I'll get back to it. But that time is not now.
We do already know March's games. Playable March 4. Probably not going to come up right away, but pretty funny considering the conversation we're having. First of all, first game on the list, Dragon Age Veilguard. Hitting PS Plus even faster than Suicide Squad did. I know some people are like, it's free, that's still too much. Honestly, if it is going to be free on PS Plus, I'm probably going to add it to my library so I can play it later. Like, I have not felt confident enough to spend money on Dragon Age Veilguard, but as a free game, as part of my PS Plus, I'll probably check it out. Like, people's opinions on Veilguard do seem kind of mixed. Like some people find enjoyment, some don't, but, it feels like one of those games I gotta kind of see for myself.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, one of the monthly games is going to be Sonic Colors Ultimate.
Probably going to pick that one up, personally.
And one that I wasn't sure I was going to hit, but I am definitely hitting now is we're doing the TMNT Cowabunga collection, which is going to be a collection of the of 13 Konami developed TMNT games. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'll pick that up. But then I scrolled through the list, and they're gonna have TMNT 4 Turtles in Time with online multiplayer.
Oh shit!
And hey, if you don't know, which you probably don't, but I own that cart somewhere for my Super Nintendo. Like, I played the shit out of Turtles in Time back in the day, man. That's got like some core Turtles memories for me. But also they got other stuff, like they've got a port of the TMNT arcade game, the original NES game, Turtles 2, they got a couple of Game Boy games, Back to the Sewers, Fall of the Foot Clan. Oh, they have the arcade version of Turtles in Time too, plus the SNES port. So seems neat. So yeah, actually pretty good PS Plus games this upcoming month. So we'll be sure to check that out and keep our eyes on it.
No, it's gonna be this month. This is gonna be March tomorrow. It's gonna be March tomorrow when this goes live.
Yeah.
Factually correct.
I mean, I think I've already gotten, because it rolled over, like, the server reset at 8. I think I've already started getting, when I was clearing some free quests today, I've already started getting March ticket bonuses at FGO, so we're pretty close.
Excuse me.
But yeah, we'll see what the big game, blocks in the middle are, but solid attempt to look out. Another interesting one of just, like, something that I'm sure people listening will want me to comment on. Speaking about Konami game collections, I did mention that I am not planning on making any video game purchases in March, and some people may be a little surprised by that, but because Konami did launch the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Early Days collection, which is a similar collection of like 10 old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. And you may be wondering, like, oh, well, aren't you... Yeah, it's 14. Oh, Konami's really going crazy. You may be wondering, like, oh, Omega, aren't you interested in that? The answer is yes, but no. I did play a decent number of these back in the day. Yeah, like he's being right back. That's okay. He doesn't have anything to comment about these Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. Like, I'm looking at the list. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I played Dark Duel Stories, Eternal Duelist Soul, Sacred Cards, Stairway to Destined Duel. Did I also World Championship 04? Might have. No, I didn't own... That's right. I did not own World Championship 04, but I did have 7 Trials of Glory World Championship 05. So, like, I've owned a decent number of these games, probably have most of these carts sitting around somewhere. And some of these games were not released in America originally, but also old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games are honestly kind of janky and weird. A lot of them are using rules that were not set to the card game because simulating the card game on the Game Boy Color can be tough. So they got some cool stuff in there. Obviously, they do have some good stuff. The GBA Dungeon Dice Monsters game, very well talked about for good reason. I may have played that very slightly on some sort of emulation device, some sort of Boy Advanced that starts with a V. But it's good to see them all releasing, and like obviously this is the kind of thing I want to support. But also, we'll probably talk about this again on Fail Betrayal, but there's been a little bit of pushback from some people because let me say this. The games are from a very particular time, and there's a collection of a whole lot of them, and so, like, genuinely, a lot of these are old school GBA and GBC games that are, like, designed with the idea that you're going to be playing them a lot over and over again. Like, I still remember 7 Trials to Glory. That had, like, a fucking real-time calendar of, like, this happens this day, this happens that day, this happens that other day, and, like, yeah, a lot of them can be finicky, so... They're neat. I'm interested in them. These are a lot of the more jankier games. Sacred Cards is pretty cool because basically you get to be a self-insert in the Battle City arc and, like, defeat everybody. It's also one of those games where the rules were fake, so you got to fucking cheat and exploit a lot. But this did not necessarily include some of the stuff that people were really asking for. It's missing out on, like, Reshef of Destruction in there. Falsebound Kingdom, that's right. Doesn't have Falsebound Kingdom, doesn't have Duelist of the Roses. So, and missing the Tag Duel series, which went through, like, I think late GBA into DS era. So, we'll see. Hopefully this does be successful enough that Konami does decide to release a second collection with more of these old games. A lot of the scores are kind of, middling. Mixed or average reception on Metacritic type shit, which makes sense because they haven't really updated these games a lot. They did let you rewind time and create save states. One of the games does have online multiplayer, and they say they're going to add more later. So we'll see. But yeah, just a thing I wanted to throw out there for people who aren't necessarily catching up on Fabled Betrayal. I will. I've added it on Steam just in case they add multiplayer to the cool games later. So I may pick it up on a sale. But like not. I was originally pretty hyped for it, but it's definitely the kind of thing where just it's coming at a time of the year where I'm like, no, I don't want to spend $50 on some of these games. But I did actually have one more side thing about Cardboard Crack that is semi-relevant. Just because some people brought up to mention is that this was like last week news, but we obviously we didn't record, so we didn't mention it then. But Magic the Gathering's big collab with Final Fantasy, is happening, etc. And they showed off a lot of like their full product line. They showed a few things off already for a few early teasers, but they have the actual product, so it is a full Universes Beyond set. And also, they're including, like, pre-constructed, like, commander decks and stuff. It seems neat. Definitely seems like a lot of love went into the crafting of it. When they were actually previewed, we were spending some time talking about what they did with Emmett Selk's card design and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And not just 14, though obviously everybody probably should have expected it, but shout out to them for their commander-focused card. It is Y'shtola.
Mm-hmm.
The secret mascot fighter for FF14. Not really that secret, but it's her. But they have a lot of other big ones. They remembered, I think the other three commanders are Terra from 6, Cloud, and I think Noctis was the last one. So like all 16 numbered games are in there, and they're trying. One thing that is a little interesting, and this I think says more about what's going on with Wizards of the Coast business sense than anything else. But the way the sets are designed and like some of the way the rarities and work is that if you're a Final Fantasy fan who wants to get these for the collectible sense or wants to jump into Magic just to play a Final Fantasy deck, looks a little expensive. Some of the prices on their premium booster boxes and stuff, a little high. Though kind of makes sense if you're doing a big crossover thing because like this means that they got to go out of their way to work out the licensing and sharing with Square and work on a few of these things. They did have Amano involved in some of the art, which is cool. But yeah, neato little thing. Yeah. But I know some of you're out here in the mailbag in the comments talking about your favorite Cardboard Crack flavors. We have fun. We're all here to mutually support our addictions together. I may have to at least to keep my my TCG street cred, I may have to learn a little bit about the Hololive TCG because they announced also, I think, in the past couple of weeks that they are making an official English version of that.
Yes, I remember seeing it.
Which is good for them. Honestly, not sure what it is about, like, it feels like this year, but Hololive's really been blowing up with their brand integrations.
That's what's popular. Parasocial idols is great for people who don't actually want to get out there and talk to people.
And even if you do want to get out there and talk, because Hololive is big enough to actually host live events.
That's true.
It's one of those things where like it's one of those fandoms that gets large enough that like it becomes something that you can like talk with people about, even if it's also super parasocial. That is correct. But yeah, to again briefly mention Konami. I feel like kind of out of nowhere for Master Duel's 3rd anniversary, they got several of the Hololive EN girls involved. Like some of the new Justice girls got involved in an EU tournament for Master Duel, and they had like a actual like big deal face off between Koseki Biju and Fuamoko from their 3rd generation Advent that actually had like a normal commentator on who was I felt like she was a little under-equipped for how how kawaii the girls can be. Also, shout out to the real one, Koseki Biju. Probably forced to play Eldritch, but splashed White Forest in there. Got to rep the homies. But also, like, speaking about like Monster Hunter creators, like again, main like Capcom and Monhunt accounts, like pushing for a big stream with a foursome of them, of EN girls and stuff like that. They're getting out there. Good for them.
They hold a wide viewer base, so anything that they can get the girls to show gets shown to millions of people.
It's true. And I think their audience is so big because like there is something about kind of the craft and detail I think that Hololive and Cover Corp puts into it. Like they, by all accounts, have a pretty like rigorous and well planned audition process. for instance, the twins Fuamoko, they like went out of their way to look for and audition sisters as like part of the gimmick for them, and obviously it works out pretty well. I know that their CEO Yagu recently put out a post on LinkedIn that got translated to English, which basically saying like, no, AI will not replace VTubers. It might be a tool, but people want authenticity. They want the real experience of hanging out with a person through, the mystery of the VTubification. And it's like, considering that he's, the CEO of what started as basically a tech startup company, Cover started as like a VR AR company that decided to get into VTubing, like streaming as like a show off of their tech. And then the VTubing thing was way more successful. Is like, pretty good take, thumbs up. Arc finally got his power back. Sorry, I completely decided the Discord, but one of our members of the VS crew / the 14 crew / the Monhun was without power earlier, so I bet I know what he's going to want to do. Yeah, I think... Actually, no. Just a couple brief things I should mention. One of them is in my notes, one I forgot to put down earlier. Just a brief aside, again, because I think people may comment on it. Pokemon Day happened. I did not watch the stream, but I observed that it occurred. They actually had some new news about ZA. As usual, the internet, sometimes seems of two minds on stuff. Like, I've seen some people being like, is this all the Switch 2 can do? And I'm like, man, shut up. First of all, everybody complained about the graphics of the previous mainline gen, Scarlet Violet. Game still sold like hotcakes. Sold shitloads of them. It's Pokemon, they're going to sell shitloads. And they do actually seem to be stepping up some stuff. Some of the character designs seem pretty neat. Obviously, the thing that has, slurped up the internet's attention right now is that in the background shot of some of the promos, they showed a character design which looks like some older form of Hex Maniac. We're not actually sure if she's literally Hex Maniac, but she looks Hex adjacent,
It has not stopped the internet.
No, they're all over that shit. And by they, I mean me. I'm out here. I'm in the trenches. I'm retweeting. It's a good design. Pokemon's always got a couple. They got some other stuff in the characters. They're doing some interesting things, I think, with like the player character and rival mashup. Like, it seems like their intention is maybe that you'll be able to freely select your rival's gender. So they kind of like switch back and forth as opposed to them the way it's usually been is either you have one of each or it's the opposite. And obviously, I got to shout out, while it is not a full Johto brand game, they're bringing back for the starters Chikorita and Totodile, my boy. It's the XY, so it'll be Megas as well, so it's going to be Mega for Alligator. I'm happy about that. Yeah, Cyndaquil got kidnapped by Arceus to go back in time, and these guys are going to be in future Pokemon Paris. But like, it's looking good. There's some stuff talking. I think they still said that it's going to be like late this year. So I guess we'll. I did think they also did say it's going to be cross-generational, so like it's not going to be exclusive to Switch 2. Obviously, the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, but they are planning on it being like also okay on Switch 1. So we'll see. We still don't have like pricing and anything on exactly on what they're doing with Switch 2. Well, another thing, somebody in chat saying they're taking their time with the game, which I'm happy about. Yes, I will also say one thing that everybody was, I want to say, a little worried about was that they would announce another mainline Pokemon generation. Nope, no sign of that. Nothing. They're actually like letting it sit for a while, which I think everybody, I talked about how there was kind of that back and forth about Scarlet Violet, right? Mm-hmm. I think the general consensus of that was like, man, Game Freak, Pokemon Company, really take a couple extra years off if you have to. Like games have longer dev cycles these days. You can take a little bit longer to let this cook, and it sounds like they're taking that advice to heart. As a slight adjacent thing, again, not as big a news, but something some people have noted. They did also announce a new game app thing. I'm not 100% sure what format it's going to take, but it's called Pokemon Champions, and it seems to be they may be making an official like competitive Pokemon simulator mode, something that will have like a ladder, like proper matchups and private matchups, but will be like a dedicated Pokemon client for competitive formats, which is just like interesting, because I know that there are a couple of like widely accepted simulators on the internet, but still a curious one. We'll oh yeah, ZA is going for real-time combat. That's another thing. That I feel like they really taken this Legends thing to heart. It's cool. I don't know if it'll be a day one. I've always meant to pick up Legends Arceus, but never got around to it. So, man, it's got my man Totodile, though. Love that little guy. So, we'll see. One thing we might have a little more back and forth, my last noto for today. Mm-hmm. We've managed to extend the raw time at least to about 2.25 hours, so we'll milk a little more out of here.
Excellent.
Is just that I've seen some footage, but also read some descriptions of the first network test for Elden Ring Night Rain happened.
Okay.
And honestly, I've been hearing more about it. This is definitely like if we get to like an open beta period, I'm probably going to try and see if we can try it out with some of the guys, because it seems like they are doing the kind of things that I would want, and I know other people would want out of this kind of product. So to kind of recap how it works, they've got all the footage, the test is out there, people streamed it. So it's kind of funny how like almost like classic battle royale coded it is, but it is absolutely not PvP. It's very funny that way. Mm-hmm. But basically, you start the game, you load up in a lobby. You can start alone or get your friends in the round table hold area, which is kind of the magical hub of Elden Ring. So you go there. You can, pick your characters, work with a little starting stuff. When you're ready to deploy, you can get thrown into a lobby and jump off. I assume that there's probably going to be some kind of like, grouping up, like probably from that lobby format. But one thing that's very interesting, the Night Rain, when you're in the round table hold, has a training grounds. So you can select any of the characters and any of the weapon types and practice your movesets outside of the actual game, which is like, I don't want to say like unheard of, but like unusual, but also a positive. We were just talking right about Monster Hunter earlier. Like for that kind of game, that's good to be able to like practice your move list ahead of time. Yeah. I wonder how many people playing a normal Soulsborne would like appreciate the ability to just go, hey, can I figure out how the fuck my combos with this weapon works before I, like, dedicate my entire build to it? I shrugged to the invisible camera there. So that's neat. But the other thing in general is, you after you're ready to go out, you join your lobby, you deploy on your magical spirit bird. Again, very like, Fortnite Where We Droppin' Boys coded. But you jump on a magical bird and pick where you want to go, and you land. The whole thing sounds very fast-paced. In generally, your characters... So, you haven't played Elden Ring, but I presume you saw or heard that they have the Mount Torrent.
Yeah.
As part of their open world. So you don't get to mount up in Night Rain. Instead, your sprint speed is said by people playing to be about as fast as Torrent running anyway. It's just your normal sprint speed. You can also call on your magical spirit bird to do, like, specific, like, jumps or glides to transfer height. So the whole thing is, like, much more faster paced. It sounds like there are, like, new, like, mobility options for, like, jumping, climbing, running, shit like that. Just, like, keep your movement going. So all in all, like, that's pretty good. You are going to have, like, that Battle Royale, like, slowly closing barrier, shrinking the map size until it eventually becomes your boss arena at night. But, at least in the first beta test, the actual damage you take while you're in the quote-unquote Night Rain, not that bad. Like, you can actually fight guys and live out there for a little bit.
Okay.
So you're not, like, instantly killed if you touch the barrier. Generally, the way it works is during the daytime, you're going to be running the fuck around, and you're going to be looking for loot. You kill random mobs or open chests to get, new items, which can get you, new weapons, get you, spell catalysts, which are preloaded with certain spells and stuff like that, get you some new armor, etc. And you level up by discovering lost sites of grace, which just increase your overall level, which improves your stat curve. No individual spending stat points kind of a thing.
Okay.
But also, the way they talk about how death works is pretty simple. First of all, if you go down, any of your allies can revive you by simply hitting you with an attack. You get back up.
Whack.
Apparently seems to be no limit on revives.
Okay.
In normal play, if you are down for 10 seconds, you die, you respawn, with your soul level reduced by 1. So, depending on how far you are in stats, that may be a bad deal, but probably not a deal breaker. You're just going to respawn and be reduced in power a little bit. If you keep dying, obviously, that's going to be bad because that means your stats are going to degrade before the boss, but not, like, turbo punishing. Obviously, if your whole squad dies against the boss at the night phase when there's a big final boss, oh no, you failed, you wipe. Rip, go again. But, like, again,
easy.
fairly generous, respawn for when you're fucking around during the day. Any character can equip any particular gear you find, so long as you meet the, like, level requirements. So you may stumble into, items that are a little too high soul level for you to use. Not sure how that works with, like, the level going down if you respawn. Like, I don't know if you, like, de-equip or what, but something to, like, keep track of your progression. And if you actually make it through all 3 nights, defeat all 3 bosses in a run, you get a relic, which is a permanent buff for all your future runs.
Okay.
And these are independent of the character, like, class you pick, the character build you start with. So you can, do runs with characters you find easier to improve your ability with other characters. And also, on that note, the characters are pretty interesting and unique. They do actually, like, have slightly different movesets with weapons, So not every character plays exactly the same. But they do have special abilities that are on, like, highly visible cooldowns. One of the ones that's really interesting is the character, the Duchess, who is very clearly, like, Bloodborne coded, despite it being Elden Ring's engine.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, her, like, lightly equipped dodge roll animation is she just does fucking handsprings and kickflips. Like, she is full-blown flipping out there, but also, apparently, at least in the beta, she gets, like, 95% damage reduction while doing that. Wow. And there are buffs to, like, how good your iframes and your damage reduction while dodging are, so, like, she can just straight up be, like, invincible while kickflipping everywhere.
That sounds amazing.
But also, one of her abilities is to, like, quote-unquote, rewind time, so an enemy just suffers the damage they suffered within, like, so many seconds ago again. So if you, like, land a really sick combo or a nasty hit, you can just be like, double it. But also, it works for other characters, too, so, like, hypothetically, you could be, like, tripling your whole squad's damage output on a cooldown. Like, there's the magic character, the Recluse. I don't remember exactly what her abilities are, but she's got the ability to, like, help hide you from monsters, I think, and some other things. One of the characters has kind of, like, grappling moves and counters. The Guardian, the bird-headed guy, can actually, like, do some sick jumps. And there's going to be more characters. So, like, it genuinely seems like they have done a lot to actually make this combat, like, very tight and very fast-paced, which is why I'm like, I think I gotta try this beta with some friends, because, like, genuinely, my problem with FromSoft's games is usually it feels like, I want to joke, it feels like a full-time job. It's not actually that hard, but, like, they feel like significant time investments to get into, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get in there and whether you're grinding it out for, like, levels or to find a specific build you want, or just throwing yourself at the same boss over and over again until you can, figure out the timing and whatever. Takes a lot of action, takes a lot of repetition. I'm not going to say that Night Ring's not going to have that, but the whole point seems to be like, hey, we've got this big-ass map for you to explore. What if we just had everybody do, fucking meth and just sprint around everywhere? Run around. Fight a boss. Fight a legacy boss we could never actually put in Elden Ring because it doesn't make fucking sense from the lore, but who cares? And it has the thing of, like, the thing, that I know you and I like about certain rogue-like or rogue-adjacent games of, like, no, if you actually clear the run, permanent progression happens.
Yeah, no, that's important.
Like, you will be if you are succeeding, you will be getting better over time, and while you can solo it, it does also seem like it kind of rewards teamwork, because, like I said, there's going to be these character abilities, bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
But there's going to be these, like, different character abilities and brews that, like, let you do really interesting, unique stuff that their games haven't really tried, and you get to co-op with them, and while it still has a little bit of that From jank, where it's like, it's, 1 or 3-man co-op, there is no in-between, that's still, like, they're making a co-op focused game that's, like, super, like, again, super fast-paced. Obviously, it's randomized, so, there's going to be times where it's going to be like, well, I don't really like, how Great Clubs handles, but I found a good Great Club, so I guess I'm here, and I don't know, like, how loot sharing works. Though, obviously, you guys, when you're in kind of the exploration phase during the daytime, you can spread out, Like, obviously, if you go down, you don't want to be too far away from your friends, but you can work around a little. So, like I said, it's something I'm keeping my eye on, something I want to check. And we've talked about before, like, big fans of the internet video Happy Souls, if you've never seen it, which is actually about Dark Souls 2, but I know Dark Souls 2 is not quite as fun as Happy Souls makes it sound. Honestly, there's a lot of contention in the space. People like to fight about, like, is Dark Souls 2 the best or the worst? I can't really weigh in. But I know that it's, like, people have a bone to pick with it. But, like, just the idea of, like, fucking around with the boys and, like, goofing off, while also being able to collab on, like, bosses and not have quite those, like, punishing defeats. Like, again, if it's not the final boss, if you die, you just respawn and go down a level. Could probably be mean, but, gonna be a little more straightforward. And so I guess we'll see where it goes. Also, the character designs are, like, fire. Yeah. Recluse looking great. Duchess looking great. Also, one of those guys is a fucking Birdman. Why? I don't know. They want to put a Birdman in it. It's FromSoft. What are you going to tell this to do? You tell them not to make a Birdman? And they still have, I forget what he's called, but there's still that one character class who's like, John Dark Souls looking ass. So yeah, like I said, seems it's going to be very funny if this is going to be like the one FromSoft game that I feel like has good like return on investment for time for me, but it looks like it might. But yeah, that was, like I said, that one was not in my notes, but that was the last big thing I think I had to talk about today. We're cruising for about 2.5 hours. We could probably wrap up.
Probably. I don't got much to talk about. I think I've already said everything I want to say.
Well, and chat, this is why we didn't have a show last week. Because basically you'd take probably this show and you'd divide its time by half on both ends.
Yeah, God, that'd been like, what, an hour? Oh, God,
yeah,
no.
About an hour-ish instead of 2.5-ish, which will probably compress down to a little over 2 hours. Yeah.
Ugh, terrifying.
We've done shorter shows, we've done longer shows. We prefer to have a decent couple of hours for you to listen to, just because I think, in general, based on the numbers, you guys like longer shows more. They usually get better views. I'm not gonna lie to you, chat. More hours does usually mean more ad rev and or YouTube Premium rev. It's not like the biggest deal in the world, but it's a true fact. But yeah, it is almost midnight. We've gone for about 2.5 hours. My nose has been itching, so I think I want to go wash my face off.
Mm-hmm.
We turn on some more of my fans, and guessing probably getting back to Monster Hunter.
I'm probably gonna pop up the Secret Gaming and see who joins me.
See what the haps is.
Yeah,
I do gotta get started on the edit at least as well. But yeah, we will start the wrap up process.
Woo!
So hey, if you've been watching for 2 or whatever hours, and you like this video, give it a like. As I've been saying lately, if you have been watching for 2 hours, you probably like this video. You should click like. But you can also make sure to leave your comments down below and hit us up on our Discord. Discord links are in the description. It is a free Discord. Anybody can join the Discord. We already have a Monster Hunter thread open if you are looking for Monster Hunter friends and can figure out how that interface works.
Sorry, my immediate thought was, can you find Monster Hunter enemies there? I was like...
At least for some of the stories you've told about Monster Hunter, probably. Trust exercise?
Trust. Oh, God, I actually dug out one of my favorite victory screens from fucking Monster Hunter World, was me just getting blasted by a fucking laser.
But yeah, join the Discord. It's a cool time. Make sure that you are subbed for all of our new videos, including, like I said, upcoming Wanted on Takasugi.
Mm-hmm.
And also consider ringing that bell for notifications so you guys know when we're posting new videos or streaming. You can join our channel memberships for access to badges and emotes. And, like I said at the start of the show, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get the audio of this show for as little as a downloadable MP3 audio for as little as $1 a month, or approximately $10 a year. At higher levels, you can vote in polls and stuff, work out some other things. Sorry, I'm fighting my nose a little. At the highest tiers, you can listen to us record this live every week, and also get an on-air shout-out like these patrons, such as Adam Harp, Black G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Chris Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Charvor, some guy named Bob, and Varian the Crow. Thank you very much for your support, all patrons and listeners. And we'll see you guys next week, I guess.
Next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.